Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Not right away. Okay. Looking for my headset.
Yeah.
Hello? Are we here?
Yeah.
Hi, sorry. That was as usual, faltering beginning. I'm not good at beginnings and ends. They're often... I'm okay
looking
in the
for
middle.
love in all the wrong places.
Yeah, I know, whatever. Chris Potter's here. It's Friday. It's the 10th of January. You have a cold?
No, but I'm not feeling 100%.
Oh, no!
I guess I should have mentioned that.
No, that's how that
And then I was
hobbling,
hobbling my way over here from the T line where they were.
Yeah, there was some kind of a meltdown
There
today?
were multiple meltdowns. There was like... Our driver was like... Yeah, I don't really know what's going on. When I get to South Hills Junction, I don't know. I mean, I might let you out or I might not. It's hard to say.
How long were you stuck on the vehicle, they say?
15, 20 minutes, something like that.
Uh-huh.
A couple chapters of my book.
No,
but it's just this thing of like... I mean, it's like the problem with the T is like one thing happens on it. I don't understand like this whole progressive thing of like we have to have light rail to all these places. It's just like... I ride the bus and I ride light rail, and the disadvantage of light rail is one thing happens at any point along the thing, and it's like a light on a Christmas tree. The whole string goes out. Whereas you get on a bus, and if the bus breaks down,
one bus breaks, there's another bus.
Other buses can go around it, or you can get off the bus and fight your way to freedom or whatever. But yeah.
It doesn't matter because, in 15 years, 20 years, we'll all have little jet packs and stuff like I've been
waiting.
Well, it'll come.
Yeah.
You might be sort of too old.
No, we'll just all have Amazon drones just pick us up and helicopter us to
exactly
where we're going.
right.
Anyway.
So, big story, obviously.
What would that be? Did you watch any of yesterday's festivities?
Are you kidding?
Yeah?
How could you
glued to the screen, were you?
Ignore it. I mean, what I am so astonished by is how so many people are now saying, oh, well, so he said he didn't know. He said he was sorry. So I guess that's it.
Everybody wants to give him the benefit of the doubt.
What the hell? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I go with the Daily News of New York.
All right.
Editorial.
Hit me.
In the best possible light, Christie built a top staff of lying thugs who threatened lives and safety to serve his political ends. If not, Christie is a lying thug himself. Take his denials of knowledge with skepticism, and the man is a monster. They say it's sort of like they couldn't stay. I mean, that doesn't even sound like it belongs in that sentence.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Well,
I have to say, you watched his thing, and you can see why he's
a great pal.
Yeah,
because he's a great liar.
Yeah,
he's a number of things. He's a narcissist, egomaniac.
Yeah.
He loves nothing better than standing there for 2 hours talking about, oh, my poor deceived, betrayed self. I mean, it was his favorite thing to do. Mm-hmm. Do we forget how when he gave the so-called thing introducing
the keynote, I think,
at the
RNC,
at the Republican convention, that essentially spoke for an hour or more about himself?
Yeah.
The guy is a roiling mass of egomania.
Yeah.
And he's, I think he's a frightening character in many ways.
Yeah. I mean, I the part to me where I was just like, come on, is he goes, I have 65,000 employees. I don't know what they're all doing. It's like,
we're talking
this is
about
your top
your deputy.
lieutenants. This isn't some public works guy sleeping on a shovel out in Teaneck. This is like your
deputy.
chief of staff.
Hello? It's the woman who's got the desk, that you walk by when you get to go to your office.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but like a couple of these folks resigned like several weeks ago, right?
Yes, the guy at the Port Authority.
Yeah, so he doesn't be like, hey, why you guys going?
Yeah, right. Hey,
wait, where?
Hey,
is there something I should know?
Yeah.
And then what he does do is he has this I thought was awesome. I told my staff, I'm going out there in an hour.
Tell me
if I'm wrong. Tell me if what I'm about to say isn't true. Like, what the hell kind of standard is that? Like, I'm basically going to go out there and hang myself out there. So if you want to tell me that, like, who's going to, you know what I mean? Like, if you have a staff that's capable of doing that kind of stuff without telling you about it, do you really think they're going to tell you about it 55 minutes before you go out there? I mean, that just seems
And also, if you have a staff capable of pulling something like this, and they're that high up in your inner circle, and you feel betrayed, who the hell decided that these were the kind of people that you want? It says something then, if he was totally betrayed and misled, it says something about his judgment, his ability to tell a good person from a bad. I don't know.
Did you watch the Widstein guy and any of his testimony? It was so great. He was just like this. He looked like a bulldog on depressant, and like on some kind of SRI. He was just like this.
Yeah, but you know what? And he was the childhood friend of.
Well, apparently they weren't that close after all.
So here's what Christie says. I mean, that guy, Wildstein or whatever his name is, Wildstein,
something like that.
Who knows? Had always been characterized, and the reason that he got the job he got at the Port Authority was because he was a longtime buddy of Chris Christie, who now says he really didn't know this guy very well. I mean, yeah, they went to the same high school, but Christie says, I was the class president, and I was in athletics, and I really don't know what circles he was in.
He was in the AV club and chess club. He was a loser. I used to shove that guy into his locker because I was just that cool.
Right, exactly. And then the woman, the Kelly, who's been with him forever, he just calls her stupid. And I wonder about those people, how they're feeling. Will they keep quiet after?
That's the one thing that makes me think he must really be very, very confident.
He's a scary guy.
He must be very confident about what they are and are not able to say about him and what they can and can't tie him to, because he did that. I mean, that woman, he destroyed her. Totally. Just destroyed her career. I mean, not that she didn't do it herself, but, he just absolutely hung her out to dry. So he better be real sure that she doesn't have anything to toss back in his face. It would seem to me.
Now, given the fact that there's a big paper drop today, 900 kinds of thises and that's, there's already lawsuits. There'll be more. There's investigations, federal level and at the legislative level. If there's something, if I just can't believe that he's gonna be able to get through this.
I don't know. I bet
you do think he will?
No, I put it this way: if it is true, and this is I acknowledge this is a big if. If it is true that what he said yesterday was true and that he didn't have anything to do with it, didn't know about it, it will go away. I think he's got.
You think time. It's true?
I think he must have known.
I do too.
So then it becomes, because he went out there and he laid it all out, and it will. the very confidence and then how convincing he was yesterday will rebound back on him and hurt him as badly if it turns out he was lying as it helped him yesterday. So if he's lying, then I think he's done. And that's I've heard a bunch of that's not like my great insight. A lot of other people have been saying the same thing.
Obviously he made a calculation. I'm finished unless I absolutely go give the performance of my life. I will appear to be the most, and he's capable of this great performance that he gave. And now he's just got to pray that something.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. So there's this other guy, and I don't claim to be an expert, but this Fulop or something like that, Fulop, who gets mentioned. And I don't know exactly like what his story is. It seemed like he felt like he had a bunch of meetings set up on various issues, and like the governor's people just cancel them left and right, and he felt that was payback. So if that's true, I mean, again, it sort of gets to this thing of like, is this sort of a pattern with him? But not doing a meeting is different than going out and screwing an entire metropolis in the most public way possible. And that's why this is if it is true that he's
the
that he needs
scale of this is so huge,
and not just the scale, but the fact that this isn't some like patronage job that people get irked about, but doesn't really affect their lives. I mean, this is like people felt this. This is like one of those weird. Most of the times when political stunts like this happen, people are totally shielded from the impact.
Exactly.
Oh, what? Some well-connected bond issuing firm got the job because of their. I mean, people don't care, but this is just like.
So the very fact that this the woman Kelly could email or text whatever she did, time for traffic problems in Fort Lee, I think is. Time for traffic problems in Fort Lee to this guy at the Port Authority. That presupposes that he understands exactly what she's saying.
Yes, right.
And why she'd be saying it.
Right.
And that presupposes that they had already discussed this kind of thing.
Yep.
I'm sorry. There is no way that this woman, first of all, given Christie's personality and stuff, that you would do something that huge without getting a green light.
And up until 24 hours ago, he was supposed to be a micromanager.
That's right.
Right? He was Mr. Hands-on boss.
So
So you have this ongoing catastrophe in your state, a traffic catastrophe. It wasn't just one day, right? I mean, it was several. Yeah. It was several days, and not that curious about it when it was happening. Not that curious about it afterwards.
Very odd. And not only not. Here's the other thing about him that we've seen is that after so many, hundreds of thousands probably of people were inconvenienced, lost money, appointments, who knows what, their minds, everything because of this little stunt. He joked. He never treated it seriously.
Right.
That in itself is odd.
Yes.
Because any governor whose main artery gets screwed up like that for no apparent reason, especially a governor known for his mercurial temper, would have been furious.
Right.
Not.
Yeah.
I was the guy
changing moving the cones. Yeah.
No, doesn't. Yeah. You know what? I'm sorry. It does not pass the smell test in any way, and that people are taking that for performance of his as anything but is unbelievable to me.
But this is how this is sort of the the almost Greek tragic nature of it. I mean, the very thing that made him a success was this sort of larger than life, sort of bloviating personality, and I move the cones or whatever. It had panache, he's bold, he's brassy, he's sassy,
like that. People.
And then, but the minute you better be real sure that you don't have any skin in that game, because the minute you do, you really look bad.
I just can't. So I tweeted. Did you see my little tweet about?
I did not.
You didn't see my tweet?
No.
Well, I'm sure other people did it, but it just occurred to me, and then I thought, and after I tweeted it, I thought, I bet other people have done this. They'll think I'm stupid.
Yeah, that's it. I was worried about that.
You do? Yeah. Because I think mine is pretty obvious.
Okay.
So I tweeted, earlier this morning. I am not a crook, Richard Nixon.
Right. I am not a
bully,
Right.
Chris Christie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I expected somebody to say something. And what I got was this from B. Gustav.
Okay.
I am not an insipid twat, Lynn Cullen.
That's hilarious, dude. I don't know where people get this idea that Chris Christie fans are coarse. It seems unfair to me.
God.
Man.
Do you believe that? Came like almost bang immediately. Woo! Yeah, you gotta have thick skin out there in the Twitterverse.
Yeah. How many followers does that guy have? Let's go.
Shall we find out?
I bet he and his
Bill, he has 217 followers, but he tweets a lot. He's tweeted about 2,000 times, and he does, for some reason, follow me.
Oh, there you go.
All right, he's a piece of work. Hi, Bill!
Maybe he's calling in now.
All right, we'll take a call.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Lynn and Chris, George from Moon.
George from Moon.
Yes, long time no talk.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to poke a short comment in there. This is standard operating procedure in politics. Blame the staff.
Yes,
How many examples can we... Richard Nixon blamed John and all the other guys on his staff and then tried to destroy their character.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan did the same thing. Deniability, remember that? There was a well-oiled machine back then.
No, it's true. And you call
everybody blames their staff. Didn't our past mayor, do the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's SOP.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Standard operating procedure. Thank you.
Thank you for
George.
the call.
Yeah, right.
See, but I mean, Reagan's a good example. Got away with it.
Yeah, he did. People do get away with it.
Yeah.
This just seems so egregious that I'm sorry. I
think, the other thing too, I think, is that it's going to be, he could get away with this, but the problem with the scandal like this, all right, this is another piece of conventional wisdom. The scandals that are the worst for you, the ones that play into what people are already predisposed to think, right? So the problem is, anything he does now is going to be viewed through this lens that he has now sort of ground for himself, and so he's really going to have to watch it.
He's going to have to watch his temper,
and that's not going to be easy.
The guy on display for those 2 hours yesterday was so un-Christie-like in that every way.
At first, it started getting a little raggedy at the end.
He started to get a little unable to do it.
Yeah.
This is the guy who just rips into reporters, calls people stupid to their face, whatever. And it must have been it. He used every fiber of his self-control, which is not.
There's not a lot to go around.
Right. And you're right. He has to sort of keep that up now.
Yeah. Which will not be easy.
No, not be easy. So here's what one other guy said. This is Jim Dwyer in New York Times. The governor held a news conference on Thursday to say an extended act of contrition, though it was entirely for the sins of others.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, I mean, that too was so obvious.
I was too trusting. I was perhaps.
I'm the victim here. He was
I'm naive.
Victim.
Maybe I'm naive.
Yes.
You poor baby in the woods.
Poor little me. I do. And he really still didn't seem to have enough compassion for all the people who got screwed by this. He really did. Well, see, this other, because, in nearly 2 hours, Christie never got around to mentioning any sins of his own. Instead, as he exfoliated, he was blindsided. He was going through the stages of grief.
Right.
How could he be betrayed like this? And on and on. He casually dropped a few loopholes. Oh, wait, then it goes on.
But here's the thing. So
unbelievable. That's my true.
He goes to Fort Lee And the mayor of Fort Lee says, I forgive him. I take him at his word.
Which really I found odd, having seen the mayor of Fort Lee on TV all over the place.
Then there's and this is when I started to think he could skate. So that happened. Then apparently there was a 91-year-old woman who
said her mother
died,
it was her time.
and her daughter said it was her time to
that's
go.
Okay.
It probably,
I don't.
I'm just saying, like, the people's tendency. It's a good thing about us, except it makes us kind of stupid and naive ourselves. We want to forgive. We want to forgive.
Well, let me tell you. Forgiveness, that's some kind of a Christian idea, right? I'm a Jew. It doesn't have I don't remember forgiveness being a big thing. And, you forgive away. Turn the other cheek or jowls, as the case may be. Jesus Christ. Excuse me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's when Jesus was talking about that on the Sermon on the Mount.
Right.
My people said, "Oh, you got to be kidding," and walked away. All right, never mind. Here was the best line I saw.
Okay.
A guy named Tom Foreman. I don't know who he is. Do you?
Nope.
Here's what he said about Christie's performance. I love this quote. "Sorry is a word that fits Chris Christie like a cheap suit." Isn't that good?
Yeah.
That is excellent. Well done.
Tom Foreman.
Okay, when we get back, because we're taking a break.
Right on the 20s.
I have two other biggies to talk to you about.
Okay.
One having to do with a story that everybody's treating like a non-story that I thought was a huge story when I first saw it breaking yesterday late afternoon.
Okay.
And it's being ignored by everybody. And also want to talk to you because you were at the Peduto thingamajiggy.
Yes.
And we want to talk about the mayor's first full week on the job.
Very good.
Okay. We'll be right back.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
And Carson thinks he's just an ordinary guy. Then, strange things begin to happen, and he discovers his true identity. He's Awesome Man. Now, the fate of the planet Fatal is in his hands as he battles the likes of the evil Mr. Crouton. Luckily, Awesome Man has a vast array of superpowers, which enables him to get out of every jam. Once the people of planet Fatal are safe, Dan Carson reverts back to his everyday life. But if danger ever returns to Fatal, Awesome Man is sure to answer the call. Awesome Man is the brainchild of Dale Carter, a hometown boy living in Indianapolis. His love for superheroes inspired him to create the latest and greatest superhero on the scene today, Awesome Man. Get your copy today. Visit Amazing Books at 926 Liberty Avenue, downtown Pittsburgh, or call 412-471-1899. Go online to order at DuranceBookstore.com. All rights reserved. Copyright 2009 by Dale Carter. No part of this book may be reproduced or transmitted in any form by any means, electronic or mechanical, including photocopying, recording, or by any information storage and retrieval system with permission in writing from the publisher or author.
Download the brand new CP Haps app and find out what's going on in Pittsburgh. It's the fun and free app that puts the most popular events at your fingertips. Text events to 77948 to download now and register to win tickets to the Jay-Z Magna Carta World Tour coming to the Consol Energy Center January 21st. The CP Haps app brought to you by Pittsburgh City Paper.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
All right. We're back. Okay, so do
you want to do the story that the media dare not tell us?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so maybe it was about 6 o'clock last night. I'm looking at my, Twitter feed.
Yep.
And I see something from a guy who I follow on Twitter.
That's how Twitter works.
A guy named Foo. Do you know this guy?
I do know of him. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who is he? I mean,
He's like
I met him at a thing.
He does
But
like some music promotion.
He's got something like 45,000 followers.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Some people really like get into that stuff and do a lot of like reciprocal following and stuff like that. And he does some music promotion and stuff like that. So
okay, well, he follows me.
Yeah,
and he doesn't follow a lot of people. He follows me, and he saw me at an event and came up and was talking. He's a young guy.
Yeah, fairly. Yeah.
No, he really is.
Yeah.
And I really, I liked him and this and that. But so anyway, I said, hi, how are you? And he literally says his name is Foo, F-O-O.
Yeah.
Okay, Foo. Nice to meet you, Foo. So I see a tweet from Foo.
Right.
And he tweets this thing about how there's been a chemical spill.
Yes.
Do you know anything about a chemical spill?
Yes. I think
In
so.
a river.
Yep.
In Charleston, West Virginia.
Yes. That's right.
You do know about this?
I did see something about this.
A little something. And then he starts sending all the stuff that's coming from the water facility there, warning people. And literally, what they're telling over 100,000 people in 9 counties in West Virginia is, that water in your house?
Yeah. It was good for flushing the toilet.
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Don't cook with it.
Yeah.
Don't drink it.
Yeah.
Don't boil it and think it's okay.
Yeah.
Don't launder with it.
Yeah.
Don't give it to your dog.
Yeah.
Don't wash your the floor with it. The 2 things you can do with the water in your tap is put out a fire. Or flush a toilet.
Yeah.
I thought 100,000 people
that's huge.
with no water because a chemical company, inadvertently dumped a bunch of and then somebody looked up what that chemical is. It's used to clean coal or something.
Burnish it through a high gloss.
And and then Foo starts tweeting. He's on it. He's there. He's showing people running on the water. There's no water to be had in any store, in any Walmart, anything. This to me, I'm thinking, wow, this is a big story.
Yeah. And not gotten.
Then I tuned on the 10 o'clock news, the earlier version of the news here.
No mention.
Not a mention. And I thought, don't we consider sort of West Virginia sort of our
part of it? Anyway.
Maybe that's a little south.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little south.
Yeah.
But 100,000 people without water. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I keep looking on my Twitter account. Is there anything from CNN? No. Is there anything from anybody? Finally, ABC did do something.
Right.
And Daily Kos picked it up pretty early. They're the only ones.
Yeah.
This morning, I can't wait to get the local paper.
Yeah.
There wasn't one word about it in the Post-Gazette.
Yeah.
The New York Times had a little something like this. Meanwhile, now, the president has declared 9 counties in West Virginia, disaster area or something, emergencies. They're bringing in... The Guard was called up in West Virginia last night. Is not that a big story, or is it just me? Am I?
No.
No. Then why? So CNN never even. Is it because Chris Christie is the only story right now?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think also,
or as West Virginians don't count?
I think both those things. I suspect both those things are part of it. Yeah. Yeah, look, it's amazing. Here we are in the age of the 24-hour news.
And they don't cover it.
But it's the same story all 24 hours.
That is right. So no.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the 10 o'clock news, they said, and this is breaking news. I thought, oh, finally. No. Like a water main break or something. And I don't know what the hell it was.
A water main break.
Okay, caller, go ahead.
Hey, yeah, that's the reason that, first of all, the Today Show had it was one of their top stories.
The Today Show this morning?
Because they're usually just such fluff.
Yeah.
But that is the reason that I listen to West Virginia Public Radio, 90.9. Because I find that West Virginia, the West Virginia NPR station
It's very good.
is more relative to my life than the Pittsburgh NPR station.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They have more stories that I find more important and that concern me personally and the region that I live in. And I'm out in Greensburg.
Oh, really? Okay. Huh.
All right. Well,
and it's funny that you use the term. They use it to clean coal, and the pun that ensues from that, because once again we see that coal is not truly clean.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, the name of the chemical company that put it into the river, I love this. Freedom Industries.
If it had been like Envirotech or something.
Right. Freedom Industries.
Well, keep in mind this is also the whole Dunkard Creek spill.
Yeah. Right.
That killed one of the most vibrant
wetlands. Okay. Well, thank you. I'm so glad.
Yep.
I thought I was losing my mind. That I was dumbfounded. Thank you, Pete. I was dumbfounded.
Yeah, no, it is.
Why wouldn't the friggin' Post-Gazette understand that was a story?
I don't know. I mean, how far away is it from Pittsburgh?
It happened at 3:30 yesterday afternoon was the spill.
Yeah, Don Hopi might be on his way out there or something.
But I even think obviously, so now the Today Show, the president's attention has been gotten.
Yeah.
So if you think you're well served by mainstream media or anything, it is bull. Just bull. 100,000 plus human beings have no access to potable water.
Right.
And that's not a story.
Now, what would have been a story is 10 miners trapped in a shaft.
10 miners trapped in a shaft is a
down in West Virginia is a story, but 100,000 people without water is not a story.
Right.
Because it's less dramatic.
And that's right. And the breaking news that they came in and told us more on the 10 o'clock news here, the TV news, was about murder in Westmoreland County.
Right.
Okay.
That's TV news.
Again.
Yeah.
But this is more than TV news because this was these major national outlets absolutely ignoring it.
Yeah, right, yeah.
The only one who had anything on Twitter was ABC News.
Yeah. I'm telling you. So my guess, and again,
all night.
I have not worked for a national news organization, obviously, but my guess is a chemical spill in West Virginia. A bunch of people are without water.
Who gives a damn?
They just said
bunch of hicks. Who cares?
Yeah.
Is that so? That
because
is
there's not because what? Okay, so for
TV,
TV, from the perspective of TV, where are your great images? It's going to be people lined up for water buffalo or trying to buy, Polar at the grocery store or whatever. Like that's your image. You're gonna have film footage of a river. I presume the chemical is not going to visibly, distort the water. It's not on fire or anything, and so screw it. But here's a big fat guy on TV.
Yeah,
talking for 2 hours.
But the Post-Gazette is not a visual Why wouldn't
no?
they
And I couldn't speak for them. It might be that they just, they don't have as many people as they used to do. Don Hopi might be driving down there last night for all I know. I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying I don't know. But I agree with you. It is remarkable that we now have all this media out there and
we're stupider than ever.
We know. It's like the more they talk, the less we know. I mean, really.
That's right. I remember, maybe 15 years ago, we started calling it the information age, and it took me a while, but I remember saying, I don't think this is the information age. There's just stuff that's spewed out there like a chemical spill, and there's no context, no ranking, no prioritization, no, everybody, it's just information as junk, as just in
fairness, we do know more about Miley Cyrus today than we ever have before. I mean, than any generation of humanity has ever known. I just think we should give credit where it's due.
My contempt for major media is so huge and growing. Yeah. I always think it can't get worse, and then it does. Now, the whole Chris Christie thing, that story was broken by a little
Yeah.
teeny weeny
The
reporter.
Bergen Record, I think.
Yeah, a nothing paper.
Yeah.
And think about that, because that bridge, that story
Yeah.
was in the one of the largest media markets in the world.
But nobody talked about it at the time.
And it took a little reporter at a little paper. That happens all the time. Hi, caller.
Hi, I see there's a fairly extensive article in the New York Times about it.
Today?
Yeah, January 10th, 2014. Nearly 200,000 people in West Virginia
200.
and 9 counties were without water on Friday after.
Okay, so you're looking at it online.
Right.
Okay, but I'm talking about the print. I mean, I get the hard copy paper, and there was about a 1-inch or 2-inch little thing, so that would have had to have been put in last night.
And remember that the satellite versions of that paper typically get printed earlier in the evening.
So now, of course, so now they're on it, and they're saying what, 200,000?
Nearly 200,000 people in Charleston, West Virginia, and 9 surrounding counties were without drinking water on Friday after a chemical spill contaminated the supplies.
I mean, Charleston's like
that's the state
not
capital.
A small place.
It's the state capital.
It's the state
okay,
capital.
thank you.
Thanks for the call.
I mean, if the governor of a state calls out the guard and a state of emergency, which already had happened by, I think, 8 o'clock last night, and it's your neighboring state, so neither those 10 o'clock newses are KDKA and PXI.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they're not going to do something like that. They're not going to send a crew down to Charleston.
I'm not saying do it. Say it.
Yeah.
Say. You got, in 10 seconds you can say. You don't have to have video for everything, and they don't have video for everything. What do they think their job is? Water main breaks.
Yeah, water main breaks. And weather alarmism.
And a pig,
shootings.
a parakeet, a pig, and a dog dropped off on the coldest night of the year. The dog missing, the parakeet dead, and the pig adopted.
Wanted for questioning.
That's right.
And then they get the perp walk of the pig. Oink, oink. Just shoving him into the car. He's giving him
they have to do that.
Yeah, right. And he's giving the bad MF-er look to everybody.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm enraged. I'm scared. I mean, I think it scares me.
Yeah, and I mean it's the and if somebody wanted to do that story right, I mean is this not a perfect example of the coal industry and a way in which we haven't talked about, which is what actually ends up in the water as opposed to mountaintop mining and some of the other things that have gotten more attention.
Or because around here fracking, and we're talking about, chemicals in the water, and they're talking about now transporting them on barges in our river, the chemical brew. How is this not a story that Americans should say, oh my God?
Yeah. Because
we don't, I know.
That's not who we are.
Okay, well, thank you for at least letting me know that I have not lost my mind. Yeah. I thought I'd lost my mind.
You may have lost your mind, Lynn. That's just one of your rare moments of clarity.
No, I'm looking on Twitter all night. I'm
right.
Somebody, tell me this is a story. And then I start thinking, well, maybe this Foo guy is nuts. And, he misled me. So I hear it.
He goes around by the name Foo. I mean, you do have to.
I hear it from Foo on Twitter, who, by the way, stayed on the story till about 3 a.m. this morning and then said, I got to get some sleep. That's, I guess, how you get your news now, from one individual, not from newspapers.
Bob Squarehead on CNN.
I'm sorry. I'm just stunned. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had to vent.
I could tell. Anyway.
I know it's just a little bit early, but let's take our final break. And then when we come back, we'll get into local politics because, man, have things changed. Pittsburgh actually has a mayor.
We'll be right back.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Happy New Year from the all-new bergbargains.com. Log on today for the best deals from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, and shows. Sign up for the weekly email update for your chance to win gift cards from Mad Mex, Sonoma, Kaya, Ceviche, Casbah, and NOLA. The all-new bergbargains.com. Pittsburgh's best bargains. bergbargains.com.
Check out my new time machine.
Does it work?
Hit the button.
Hey, it's Napoleon.
Oui. Check out the future.
Hey, you have a nice house. Why don't I?
You didn't save any money, buddy.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and fix that.
Yeah.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
All right, here's Ansel's email, Lynn, regarding Christie. I have not seen the Republicans necessarily running to his defense. Yeah. Well, then you haven't seen Rudy Giuliani, the biggest bully politician before Chris Christie. Man, he was all over the place defending him yesterday. But yes, you're right. There are a lot of Republicans who want to see him go down.
Yes.
And Ansel also says, if I hear one more joke about Christie's clogged artery, I'm going to scream. That's the first I heard that.
Don't laugh. Ansel's obviously already on the edge, so yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Ansel. And Ansel finally says, there is no way this brings him down. Mm-hmm. People will forget this in a matter of a few months.
As long as he doesn't.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Oh, great.
Caller, go ahead.
Hi there.
Hi.
This is Susan from Huntsville. I just wanted to let your viewers know, or your listeners know, that the rivers in question is not part of the Monongahela watershed.
Okay.
It actually empties into the Ohio River.
Right.
I would, yeah.
Because it all goes downstream.
Right.
Right. I would think so because, I mean, I thought for sure it was in the Ohio, but it's on two smaller rivers that go, that are
into the Ohio.
And they empty into the, okay.
So, but presumably the scope of this spill, the water gets diluted, so it's not like people in Missouri or have to worry about it.
It all goes downhill.
Yeah.
Well, you could go, I mean, as far down as, Huntington, West Virginia, which is that's very close to Charleston. I'm sure that's part of the 200,000 people they're talking about. Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay. Have a good one.
You too. Appreciate it. Lynn and Tom. Oops.
Whatever.
Rachel,
all those bald guys. Like this.
Rachel Carson is turning in her grave.
Yeah.
If we haven't learned our lesson by now, we never will. Yeah. Spill in West Virginia. Ray says, welcome to the future of Marcellus shale country. I'm in a related industry, and the potential for a catastrophe is not offset by any extraction tax to find a
fund. He probably needs a cleanup bill. Yeah,
it's going to be some little support company cutting corners that fucks the whole thing up. You can't drink that lease money. Yeah.
So
okay, but that's exactly the reason why I think this is a big story, especially here.
Right. Well,
deadly chemicals, water.
How big a story, just for purposes of comparison? Remember when there was that, was it a coal ash pile or something down in the Tennessee Valley? And remember, it was like some earthen dam that held it back, and the dam just collapsed, and then all that stuff went into the river. Do you remember that a year or two ago?
Vaguely.
See, that to me is funny. Vaguely. We have this dim sense, and that too fouled up water supplies for. I mean, I don't know if it was 200,000 or what the number was, but it was not a small number. And yet we forget. So to your previous correspondent, if we didn't learn from that, why would we learn from this? Right? Or the next thing or the next thing after.
Cliff says, here you want to know media's priorities and how they.
Yes.
Okay. So he says, look at today's Post-Gazette.
I noticed this
is Cliff.
Yeah.
The big picture is an above the fold on the front page. Children cavorting around with pigeons in some place, and we're told that it says above the fold bird blizzard. So they used up a huge percentage of their front page looking at pigeons in Kathmandu. It wasn't even that
where I'm going to. Yeah.
It wasn't even that great a picture. And I remember, I did. I looked at it and thought, what?
Would you prefer a large photo of the jowly Chris Christie?
I mean, astonishing. Then on page 8.
This is what I thought you were going to say the story was.
Okay.
This is what I thought.
Okay.
So I'm glad Cliff is.
Okay, thank you. You're right. Yeah. On page 8, and it's a much, page 8 where maybe the pigeons, if you were going to put them, belonged. They didn't belong anywhere in the paper, but there were 3 paragraphs on page 8 under the headline, Federal Deficit Drops by 40%. 40%.
The federal government ran a surplus in the month of December.
That's page 8.
Yep.
And we got Nepalese pigeons taking up at least a quarter of the front page.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on over there?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't, their fellow journalist stuff. Can't say anything. What is going on over there?
Well, but it's not just them, it's the whole world. And it's the whole world of media is like that. And, without letting any particular media outlet off the hook or justifying any particular decision, I'm naive enough to think that if people were really interested in stories about water befoulment and things like that,
here is why.
Why do TV stations focus on crime and on water main breaks? It's because it's fairly cheap, it's fairly easy, and because on a dollar per dollar basis you get a big audience for it. That's why.
To me, it's like malfeasance. You cannot have a functional democracy without an informed citizenry.
Sure. Of course not.
Without an informed citizenry.
Of course not.
What do the people, you folks over at the PG, what do people maybe need to know to be a little more aware of what's going on? Maybe that, yes, the deficit dropped by 40%.
Yeah, okay.
That's worth knowing.
Sure.
Pigeons, kids looking at pigeons in Kathmandu.
They put photos on there to get people. Look, we're under the same kind of pressure. I have a cover. What do I put on that cover? We try to put on every week an issue, some sort of image or whatever that's going to get people to make an impulse decision to pick that paper up and take it out of the box. So visually arresting images are the way you do that, right? I'm not trying to justify this decision, but look, we have a really schizoid attitude about information in this country. How many times have I heard information wants to be free and people don't want to pay for the Post-Gazette's online content, right? Mm-hmm. They just feel like they have a free right to that. Well, sooner or later what's going to happen is the Post-Gazette's not going to have the staffing or the wherewithal to send somebody down to Charleston, West Virginia to cover a water spill that's outside their circ area.
All right,
it's just not going to happen.
No, okay. But you would okay, so now Barbara's saying that NBC's now reporting it's 300,000 people.
Yeah. I presume some of that's because it's going downstream and a larger population.
If this isn't the lead story on the network news tonight, I'm going to shoot somebody.
Then that'll be the lead story, and then everybody will who cares about that Lynn Cullen? There's more important stories.
Radio talk show host goes berserk.
Yeah. Recurring headline.
PJ writes, it is the information age. It is not the knowledge age.
Right,
Charleston is 168 miles from Pittsburgh as the crow flies.
Yep.
Okay, but all right, I'll stop.
Okay.
So,
how about that, Bill Peduto?
Got a caller.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good morning, guys. I was trying to hold off on saying this, but I'm going to say it this way here. When there's bodies start dropping dead down there, that will be in West Virginia. That will be a top story.
Yeah.
And for as Chris, if you wanted to sell those, not sell those papers, but papers to be taken the way that we all know that they can be taken every week, you might want to try this. I'm not trying to be funny, but every week put like a picture of that dead body, drawn symbol on the ground with the tape around and not cross, and you would see people like death.
Yeah, probably.
Death sale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say put like the British papers do, put some boobs on the.
That's what we have American Apparel ads for. Yeah.
Right. But no,
you're absolutely right. I mean that's like the TV news model, right? If it bleeds, it leads, as they used to say.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. God forbid people start. You got to figure before the word got out about this, people did ingest that water.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
What do you mean, of course?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how quick the
alarm
how much
concentration. I mean, how much of it you'd have to drink to like die. But
well,
if you
clearly they're taking it pretty seriously if they're telling people.
If you look up the specific thing, it's something the menthol on the end.
Yeah. Methyl probably. Yeah, but yeah.
Oh, I think it said menthol.
Okay. Anyway,
believe it or not. Well, maybe you're right. If you look it up, I mean, the warnings are ludicrous.
Yeah.
Don't look at it.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Don't look at it.
Yeah.
Don't even look at your water.
I mean, okay. So, Peduto.
Yes.
I have to say, I feel I sleep better at night, at least in that regard. There's like a human being who is serious and a nice guy and a diligent guy who intends to do as well as he can and make good on his promises at the helm.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he already showed us this secret door out of the mayor's office.
Right.
Secret staircase.
Right.
That's how Ravenstall snuck out all the time. Yeah. So Peduto showed the local TV. You open this thing, and there's this little iron staircase that drops down one floor, and then you go into another office, and you're out. And that's how Luke disappeared. All the time.
Yeah. Assuming he came in the first place. I mean, I'll do one better. I mean, that was kind of cute and all. I think everybody who's sort of covered that knew there was, a back way out of there. But yeah, for it to actually be on the TV news was neat. I mean, one thing that office is doing now has been doing for the past few days is every day, I and I guess other people on the media list get a
invitation.
No, a schedule of his public. So it starts at 10 in the morning and basically carries through to the end of the day. I don't know what he's doing at 9 or whatever. In a prayer breakfast, maybe, sacrificing to his progressive gods. But it's essentially, meeting with so-and-so, having a discussion with so-and-so, going to this, that, or the other. I mean, it's a very, clearly it's a very conscious effort on his part to sort of be the anti-Ravenstall, and that's what we elected him to be, right? Is the guy who's going to tell you where he's at, and it's just not going to be that kind of question.
And he's got a council that looks like they're going to you never know, but probably be behind him in large part.
So what he's got on council right now, I mean, this is interesting. So essentially, Bruce Krause, who's been a longtime ally of his, became council president with 7 votes. I think of those 7 votes, 4 are really solid. And then the other 3...
Okay.
Maybe not quite so much. So I think it could be a little. He essentially got the support of 2 swing votes, which was Bob O'Connor and Teresa Cale-Smith. I'm sorry, Corey O'Connor and Teresa Cale-Smith, and then basically Daniel Lavelle got on board because I think he realized there was no percentage in being the odd man out there. The 2 no votes were Darlene Harris herself and Ricky Burgess, and Ricky Burgess is going to be a
thorn in his
side. He's going to be a very lonely person for a while to come. Okay. I mean, what was interesting, this is to me sort of interesting because I know both of these guys. I mean, so Ricky Burgess had been the chair of the Finance and Law Committee, which is the best committee to be the chair.
And that is
now that's Natalia Rudiak. Burgess has now been demoted to the Human Resources Committee, which is the worst. So he had that happen. The other thing that's happening too is if you really kind of look at who were the performing, when Peduto had his inauguration event, when he had his election night celebration party, it was in Homewood, which Burgess represents. when he had his inaugural party, he had Vanessa German. He had some other performers from Homewood.
Right.
Now, ordinarily, one would say, "Gosh, what a wonderful Valentine to be tossing to the representative the councilman who represents that area."
But
I think in this case, what he's doing is what they're just doing is they're just going around him.
Right.
They're just it's an effort, sort of to
marginalize
him. So in 2015, when he's up for re-election,
he might not.
Ed Gainey, who's a Bill Peduto ally, who's the state representative who also represents that area, Ed Gainey is going to find somebody to run, and there's just going to be a ton of money behind him, and Ricky Burgess is in a lot of trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. So that to me is sort of interesting. We'll just see how it goes. I think the style has been terrific. I think just the sort of presentation has been great, and people are receptive to it. There's always a honeymoon period for a mayor. He's especially going to get a honeymoon period because the contrast to his predecessor is so strong. But how things work out, I don't know. I mean, there's already some trouble with the way some of his pension ideas have been going. So.
Okay. So there was, I saw another little item in the paper today about David Hickton saying that the federal inquiry into the police department
continues.
Is ongoing.
Yes.
And does that mean, is that the investigation that Ravenstall and his cohorts have been coming into the grand jury for?
That's the assumption, certainly. I don't think Mr. Hickton would tell you that, but that is, he has to be kind of careful about what he says. And what he basically said is, I already told you we're investigating. So that's what you got. And that continues. It's a little hard for you to imagine at this point that anybody's going to get charged with anything.
Because why, if something were going to happen, wouldn't it happen by
already.
now?
Yeah, it's sort of,
What are they doing? They're just trying to torture people? I mean, at this point, I think, either fish or cut bait.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
You are?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's time to,
And did you see what? Who was it? What's his name? Jennings at
Allen.
PXI. Trying to make a big to-do about the fact that David Hickton's son, the U.S. Attorney's son, is, I guess, a student at Pitt, and he is actively behind efforts to legalize marijuana.
No, I didn't see that. But they
acted like that was some kind of
that's them going for their cat lady demo or whatever. I just think, one of the things that's interesting about the situation politically we're in is that's a totally legitimate. That doesn't have that kind of the Cheech and Chong sort of haze over that advocacy at this point. They're perfectly reputable people. And Jesus, Jack Wagner, of all people, 4 years ago as a gubernatorial candidate was in favor of medical marijuana.
Who was?
Jack Wagner.
Jeez.
That issue has arrived. Governor Corbett just 2 days ago said that he was willing to accept the direction of the FDA on the medical use of marijuana, which is kind of a bogus standpoint. But you know where it's coming from, which is he's getting pilloried for this issue by some of the Democrats. And when you do polling, what you find is the vast majority of Pennsylvanians are in favor of at least the medical use of marijuana.
Medical marijuana, right. So, hey, Joseph writes, when I worked for Mayor Tom Murphy, he used to store his bicycle inside the
That's great. Yeah.
Inside the secret staircase.
Yeah. That's awesome, but never used it to avoid the media. Yeah. That's funny.
God.
This is kind of funny. The last sort of official thing that Mayor Ravenstall participated in that I was. But
by the way, he did show up at the.
He did, and he stayed longer than Murphy too, which was interesting. The last official thing I saw Ravenstall do was this pension board meeting, which he phoned in. They have him on speakerphone. And there was some speculation among those of us who were there that he might be phoning in from down the hall. That's how it ended with him. It was, you just had no faith. He couldn't even be absent in a way that you could trust. You know what I mean? There was a phase where he pretended to be present, but everybody thought he was absent. And then it was he pretended to be absent and everybody thought he might be present. That's just how completely that guy had basically shot his credibility by the end of the day.
What do you think happens to him? Does he what happens to him now? He's a young man. What the hell happens?
You hear people say oh, he must have something lined up. I mean, the top suspect for that is of course Highmark because Dan Honorado.
He sued UPMC.
So he's kind of carrying water in that respect, and also Dan Honorado, who is his longtime political ally, has a position at Highmark.
Right.
But if I'm Highmark at this point, based on everything that's happened, based on that crazy scandal with their previous CEO and the girlfriend and the punching people out on their front porch and all, do you want that at this particular moment in your? I mean, this is a pretty critical period for Highmark.
You see, now their current CEO is being sued by a contractor for almost $1 million.
Yeah, yes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the fun never stops.
It's true. It is true.
But the big story today
is this water spill. Got to find out more about it.
I feel so, what's the word?
Justified.
Yeah, not quite, but yeah. I really was.
No, that's a legit story. 300,000 people. I mean, that's if your number was right at the beginning with, that's a tripling in the number of people affected by
I had
this.
a friend who's connected to the news business over last night. I kept saying, "Hey, listen to this. Why isn't anybody? Isn't this a story?" And he started saying, "Yeah, this is wow. That's So I was, but I still didn't.
So will we be seeing a story from this news outlet in the near future? Or?
What news?
You said you knew somebody who had to.
No, but he's not in.
Okay, I see. All right, yeah. All right.
He was used to me and this and that. And blah, 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 blah.
Lynn Cullen, assignment editor. Hey, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
We're done here, baby.
Well, listen. I hope you said you weren't feeling well. I hope you're not. I have another friend who had this horrible flu. It's a bad one.
The thing is,
it starts as a cold.
I don't get flu shots as a rule.
Why?
Because I have an egg allergy, and not all of those. But you have to be careful about where you get your shot because a lot of them are based on
eggs.
Yeah.
You poor guy.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you don't get sick.
And if I do, I hope you come visit me.
Hey, speaking of, your son's the guy who you named Cormac.
Yes.
McCarthy.
Yes.
The
writer.
Author.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you see something about his ex-wife?
No.
Oh.
This is going to bother me.
I didn't read it, but it was something really weird and violent.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Have you ever read his stuff?
Okay. But I think it's really...
We actually didn't name him for Cormac McCarthy, although it is true that Cormac McCarthy was the first person I heard that name for.
Why would you name your child after someone who's so dark? And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Cormac is also the first High King of Ireland, as Ray would no doubt be able to tell you.
So you're a monarchist now?
I just have big dreams. A lot of expectations for that boy.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Right after we get him toilet trained. We're taking it in steps.
Well.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thanks.
And you too. Back at you Monday.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.